68-year-old Sasikala Natarajan finally making it to the top. But is this how the script has been played out? Is the script written as well, is a big question. Let's take you through the various strengths and weaknesses of Sasikala Natarajan as we're looking at her political elevation being complete as the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu now. Iron grip over AIADMK, one of her strengths. Now, many are questioning that as well, whether there is a complete grip that Sasikala Natarajan has, or is it just about a matter of time? No charismatic challenger within AIADMK, because remember, Jayalalitha has not left over a succession plan. Proven survivor, has outwitted rivals at every stage, and this is time tested because she was taken out of Poet's Garden, fell out of Amma's grace, but made her way back, literally crawled her way back. Will seek vote in Amma's name when she decides to contest elections. Now, this morning we've had a word from AIADMK supporter saying that it's up to her to choose a constituency. RK Nagar, Amma's constituency, not immediately on radar. AIADMK supporters known for fierce loyalty, but interestingly, voices coming from RSS ideologue as Gurumurthy saying it is one of the most muted elevation of AIADMK as the Chief Minister of the state. Never seen such a silent celebration, as he's put it. Next assembly polls in 2021 has time on her hand to consolidate her grip around Tamil Nadu. Let's take you through the weaknesses now that she'll be facing as she's elevated. Zero experience in administration, although the insiders have said that she did wield considerable political clout, especially in the assembly elections where she was responsible for distribution of tickets as well. We'll have to get rid of power-hungry tag, which is the largely public perception that's been built around her, needs to win the trust of the masses. And that's where the real litmus test will be for Sasikala Natarajan. And keeping family away from the government, now that's a big one, because already her family does not enjoy a clean image. It is because of her family that she's also been in the dock over various corruption charges that are surrounding her family and her. So those are the legal tussle that Sasikala Natarajan will have to emerge victorious from. Now let me go across to my colleague Akshita, who's joining us with Pramod as well. Let's go across. Pramod, first up to you. Now, how is Chennai looking at Tamil Nadu Chief Minister in the making, Sasikala Natarajan? We've had word coming in the morning that this is the most muted ever celebration where Chennaites have seen a new Chief Minister being elected without fireworks, without any loud noises. Is it also a reflection of the lack of public support that Sasikala Natarajan enjoys?
Well, Devina, I got to say, as we have been following the Chief Minister since 2011, and right now I am at Poet's Garden, and as you mentioned, RSS ideologue Gurumurthy, the way he said it's a muted celebration. This place is very, very, very much quiet for a person, for a kind of development where a party has acquired a new Chief Minister. Imagine what this place would have been if this was Jayalalitha, that this thing has come again and she has become the Chief Minister. This would not be the situation. Around 9:30 right now here, you don't see much people except for the cops who are here for security. I don't see any caterers around. This is a situation perhaps Gurumurthy was trying to explain over to through his Twitter handle, stating that it is a muted celebration. But can we take this as a kind of the thought pattern of the caterers? Let me just ask this to Akshita over here. Can we just take this as a kind of like a representation or a way of exposure, like what the caterers of ADMK think right now?
I think, Pramod, you and I, we've been at Poet's Garden so many times, so seen the kind of crowds that gather here, and comparatively definitely feels very quiet. And I think one of the challenges that Sasikala Natarajan does face today is to get the cadre, the ground level workers on board, because you log on to social media, you see the kind of sentiments that people are feeling. Some are saying that this is even undemocratic, echoing really what the opposition has also said. So I think Sasikala faces the challenge definitely of getting many of the cadre on board. She's got the MLAs, she's got the ministers, the people who matter on board. So once that's done, maybe we'll see the kind of crowds, the kind of sycophancy that Tamil Nadu and AIADMK is popular for.
Well, interestingly, you mentioned about the ministers and MLAs as well, because I don't even see them here. I don't even see the ministers or MLAs. The situation is entirely different. If it was Jayalalitha, you would have seen the ministers right now over here. This place, they would have parked the cars away and walked all the way, and this place would be surrounded by people, buzzing with people, and a lot of hangama, everybody chanting the name Amma, Amma. But the ADMK has got a new name, Chinnamma, but we have not heard anybody say the name Chinnamma since morning. And believe me, myself and Akshita have been here, standing here since 7 a.m. and nobody has uttered the word Chinnamma. till now, Devina.
All right, Pramod and Akshita, be with us, because as we're getting these reactions, as Gurumurthi's tweet, I want to read this out for our viewers. This is what we're talking about. Eerie silence. Never seen a person so hated within and outside party becoming chief minister. No celebration, no cracker. Sasikala, the new chief minister. So with this reaction that's coming from S. Gurumurthy, also joining us this morning is a senior journalist, Mr. Srinivasan. Thank you for being with India today. And before we come to you, sir, I want to play out for our viewers what are the challenges that Sasikala Natarajan is looking at this morning. We're looking at the oath-taking ceremony on February 9th, but Sasikala Natarajan, who's given a victory sign, what are the challenges for this victory to be complete?
It's now official. Chinnamma will be the next Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. And while her proximity to late Jayalalitha has ensured a rather smooth ride to the top post, the road ahead is full of challenges.
The AIADMK, is she a primary member of 5 years? That I'm going to appeal for that in the High Court. Why she is this much greedy?
The DMK has repeatedly indicated that Sasikala as Chief Minister does not reflect the will of the people. And not just anybody from Jaya's household can be Chief Minister. Jayalalitha's niece Deepa Madhavan has also challenged Sasikala's elevation, likening it to a military coup.
I think it will be a very wrong decision. It is similar to taking over kind of a military takeover, a similar thing, because she is not a democratically elected leader.
Chinnamma still faces several corruption cases, including a 20-year-old disproportionate assets case. While Chinnamma has been in the corridors of power for a long time, she has never held any post, let alone win an election. And what could be Sasikala's biggest challenge is warding off the taint associated with her family members, infamously referred to as the Mannagurdi Mafia.
Sasikala Natarajan is the Chief Minister-elect of Tamil Nadu. The decks may be cleared for her to become the next Chief Minister, but she still faces many hurdles. How she deals with them and carries forward Jayalalitha's legacy in the coming years remains to be seen. With Bureau Inputs, this is Akshita Nandagopal with camera person Vijay Shekhar from Poes Garden in Chennai.
So joining us in the newsroom is Mr. Srinivasan, senior journalist. Sir, now we've been talking about this, that for Sasikala Natarajan, the next big test is the public support, whether she enjoys public support or not. And isn't it incumbent on her now to fight from the RK Nagar constituency, which is left vacant after Jaya's demise, to stamp her authority in the party?
Yeah, listen, Jay, if you look at AIDMK as a party, it's, if I call it actually a one-man party when it was launched, when it was headed by MGR. Later, it was Jayalalitha who ruled the roost all these years. So what is very important for the cadres is, besides the first test of her own winning from RK Nagar constituency, she'll also have to see that whether she has the ability to pull votes for the party. And that's the biggest problem before her, because right now the cadres are not in favor of her, or and they do not seem to have taken favorably to her as raised as a party chief and later now as a chief minister. So therefore that's a major trouble which she has to face. As you correctly said, there are, why this perception? Because there are a number of cases against her and her extended family, and even when Jayalalitha was around, she herself was embroiled in those cases, and the public at large held Sasikala and the family responsible for those cases. And therefore the perception grows from the fact that whatever difficulties Jayalalitha faced, it was because of Sasikala and her family. Sasikala in a way was a sponge for for Jayalalitha as long as she was in power. But when she herself becomes the chief minister, when she comes to the front as a leader herself, then she has to carry all that baggage. And how she manages to get rid of those baggages is a key question. Now, one of the favorable or the favorite tools which politicians use is to go popular. Now, one of the expectations as soon as she becomes a chief minister, that she would abolish maybe she'll bring prohibition. She'll, get away with more liquor vending, government liquor vending shops. There are about 2,500, liquor vending outlets. She may close that. She may do a lot of other things to get women on her side. Though she is a third woman CM in the state, but the women and the cadres do not seem to be favoring her again. I mean, these are grave difficulties for her.
But somebody who was working in a video library, for her to have a rise as Tamil Nadu Chief Minister is quite historic as well. Let's take you through the journey once more. School dropout from Tanjavur, and you have 1989 moves in with Jaya at Poise Garden. Many have a question that within 9 years of her joining the party, she became confidant of Jayalalitha. 96, Jaya disowned Sasikala as the 8-post poll route. And not only that, she's faced the ire of Jayalalitha quite often, because not only in 1996 but in 2011 as well, where her family was kicked out of Poise Garden. 2016, she took charge as AIADMK General Secretary, and finally now she's been anointed as the Chief Minister. But even as we're looking at another phase from the Tanjavur community, apart from O. Paneerselvam now coming to the Chief Minister's post in Tamil Nadu, let me go across to Akshata and Pramod also, who are still with us. Pramod, if you can tell our viewers that the oath-taking ceremony is February 9th. What seems to be the AIADMK strategy, as Mr. Srinivasan is pointing out, to ensure Sasikala Natarajan will be a public face, will enjoy the mass support that its leaders have traditionally enjoyed? We'll try and connect with Pramod in just a bit, but taking this question to you also, Mr. Srinivasan. Now, many have said that O. Paneerselvam could have perhaps continued, given the change of leadership in AIADMK. She could have been the woman behind the scenes, but she chose to come forward and take charge as the Chief Minister, as we're looking at on February 9th. But how successful will that be for AIADMK as a party? Do you see that in Jaya's era, the kind of clout or the kind of public appeal that AIADMK was able to build in will be difficult under Sasikala Natarajan?
Yeah, that is yet to be seen. See, basically, what does the cadre want? The winnability. Winnability is a big factor. The biggest challenge, besides her own RK Nagar constituency, is going to be the local polls, local body polls, which will happen in this summer, and that's a challenge she has to face. How she is able to manage, bring around the cadres, and then ensure that she wins. That's a big question mark. There are other issues, like you correctly said earlier, that whether she has zero experience in administration. She has no first-hand experience, but obviously, since she was a very close accomplice of Jayalalitha for over 30 years, she has the benefit of observing the decision-making, the other processor from behind the scene. But now she, for the first time, will be taking decision herself. Now, what are the decisions she would take? The challenges are many. For instance, if you look at the financial situation of Tamil Nadu, perhaps in its financial history, they may be ending up with one of the lowest possible, results. The revenues are dipping, and the other thing is, for last 6 months, since Jayalalitha was hospitalized, where she stayed in hospital for 4 months, and subsequently after her death, 2 months when OPS has taken over, the administration is being, I would say, not been very effective. So she has to bring the administration back on the rails. And that's going to be a major challenge.
Okay. Also getting news, Mr. Srinivasan, that Sasikala Natarajan's husband has now been hospitalized in Apollo. Now, this is interesting because there are a lot of political readings that will go into who's visiting Sasikala Natarajan's husband in Apollo Hospital, how much clout he's been able to wield after Sasikala Natarajan's elevation as Chief Minister. Now, remember, as we've been talking about, that after Jaya's demise, Sasikala Natarajan and her family had encircled mortal remains of Jayalalitha to stamp their authority that they are the voice in the AIADMK next. This is the power camp that's been set up next. Jayalalitha's own niece, Deepa, had also alleged that she wasn't allowed to meet the Chief Minister when she was in the hospital. Now, sources have told India Today that Sasikala's husband was admitted to Apollo after he complained of breathing troubles. Complications come on a day of significant development as Sasikala moved one big step closer to power.